It's a Wednesday here on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel on the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast. Anthony Moeglin, home side, joined alongside my partner, Kevin Woidke, who, again, Kevin, on the road. The traveling man is sporting his Buckeyes as he walks through, as he gallivants through some airports, getting to wherever he's getting to. Kev, we're working our way through rivalry week here. How you feeling? You getting ready for Saturday? What are the vibes like in the world of Kevin Woidke?
Vibes are good. Apologies for anyone who overhears anything here, standing in O'Hare Airport. So you never know what's going to hit. But no, it's been good. And that like at the first thing that touches, kind of a sigh of relief. Our first topic. We could jump right into it, but that's a huge.
Jump right into it, brother. Huge sigh of relief is right. Jeremiah Smith on Monday night, it would have been right after we recorded, Kevin. He announced on Caleb Downs' podcast, Downs to Business, that he should be available for Saturday's game, obviously against the team up north. I do think that there's a little semantics there, making sure that he dropped the should be, because Ryan Day in his weekly press conferences said that him and Carnell are both progressing. They're both progressing and doing the right things. They're likely not going to practice the rest of the week. Day made a comment, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they've played enough football that they don't really need the practice reps, which is true. But yes, Jeremiah says that he should be available. And Kevin, we talked about it. Obviously, Wednesdays are more defense focused here on our show, but we talked about the importance of having at least one of those guys. And if Jeremiah can go on Saturday, man, that would be huge for the Buckeyes.
Huge for the Buckeyes, huge for the other receivers as well, because it takes the shine off of them, puts it on Jeremiah. Even if he's running around being a decoy, it'll be a huge. I think it'll be a huge weight off the shoulders of whoever is out there catching footballs. That all right, all the focus is on him. Let's work outside of that.
There's no question about it. It not only is that, but it's also such a huge sigh of relief for Julian Sayin, because we saw there's a very obvious change in his, just the way he felt, the way he looked when Jeremiah went out of the game against UCLA 2 weeks ago, and even last week when they had none of them, had neither of Carnell or Jeremiah. It looked a lot different from Julian. So gonna be good there if he can at least get one of those. And we laughed about it after the UCLA game when Brennan and I were on. Jeremiah's, if he's 60%, if he's 50%, hell, if he's 40%, that's better than a lot of guys in college football. So having number 4 available has got to be operation number 1. It's got to be the most important thing on the minds of the Ohio State Buckeyes, getting him ready, getting him healthy. I think Carnell's more of a long shot, but getting number 4 back is going to be massive, man, because it is going to be it's one of those things where they just need to have one of those guys, like you said, even as a decoy. So something to absolutely monitor here as the week progresses, as we get into Friday. For sure, we'll know, and obviously Saturday morning we will we'll have our we'll have the update. We'll have the final update there coming. So, Kev, some updates that we got on Tuesday. That Ohio State, these Buckeyes, man, it's not a surprise to us. Shouldn't be a surprise to very many people, but they are littered throughout the postseason awards list. I'm just going to go down the list and read them out. There's going to be a lot of Caleb Downs here. Caleb Downs is a finalist for the Lott Trophy. He's and then also too Arvell Reese, a finalist for the Butkus Award. Caleb's a final for the Jim Thorpe Award. Jeremiah's a finalist for the Bolitnikoff. Caleb is a finalist for the Bednarik Award. Julian's a finalist for 2 awards, won the Maxwell Football Award and then the Davey O'Brien Award. And then Caden McDonald rounds out the list of Buckeyes going to get at least an opportunity to win a postseason award, as he was a finalist for the Outland Trophy. There's Buckeyes everywhere, Kevin. It's not a surprise. These guys have been dominating all year long.
Yeah, especially on the defensive side of the ball, they've been as stellar as you could possibly be. I think if Carnell doesn't get hurt, he's on that Bolitnikoff as well.
Yeah.
I think the finalists will probably be him, Jeremiah, and Malachi out at USC. But that's how they choose to do it. I get it. He got hurt. But life happened. But I don't think he's focused on individual awards. I think he's more focused on the big trophy at the end of the year. So let's hope that these guys can bring some of these home. They notoriously get snubbed, but who knows?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think that that's not only the Carnell's mindset. I also think that that's probably a mindset for all these guys. They don't really care about this. You and I talked about this a couple weeks ago about the Heisman Trophy. Like, a lot of people are getting all worked up about it, and I bet if you ask Julian Sayin, he'd be like, "I don't care," right? Like, that ain't the awards that they're looking for are the trophies that they're going to have the opportunity to hoist. And I thought it was pretty cool, though. The one name, Kevin, that we won't. This is a perfect time to talk about him, but it's Caden McDonald for me. Like, this is a guy who, coming into the season, you're like, I don't really know. The interior of that defensive line was an area where there's a big question mark. The whole defensive line for sure, but especially that interior. And man, Caden McDonald just picked up right where Tyleik Williams and Ty Hamilton left off last year. I mean, to say that he's on equal level or possibly even better than those two wouldn't be a stretch. And like, he doesn't get quite the shine that some of the other guys gets, but Kevin, he's been incredible this year for the Buckeyes, and it's going to be nice to see him, or it is nice to see him get some postseason recognition here.
Absolutely. You kind of thought this would be the case last year. You thought it would be him and Tyleik in the middle. And, I mean, that's just not how it played out. And I think he's using that as a chip on his shoulder, and he's been absolutely dominant this year. And it's good to see that he's playing the potential that everyone thought he would be last year, and he is this year.
Yeah, and he makes what the biggest emphasis is for him is that he makes the job of Sonny Styles, he makes the job of Arvell Reese, and even Caleb Downs like so much easier. Like, it's hard enough to play the linebacker position, but it makes it much easier when offensive linemen can't get to the second level because they're having to get 2-3 guys just on one defensive tackle. And Caden McDonald's been that special year so far this year, and excited to see his name on that list of guys receiving some postseason recognition. So those awards are yet to come, but obviously those start to come out along with the Heisman. Those start to come out after the conference championship games, which will be in about 2 weeks here as we are flipping the calendar, Kev, to December next week, which is just ridiculous and out of control. But that's absolutely the case. So getting more specific here on the Ohio State defense. This is a group that's just been completely special all year long. They choke teams out. They don't allow teams to even start games. It's been really, really impressive. The stat that was released on Saturday is that they've held 11 straight opponents under 17 points. They're the first team to do that since 1987, which is unbelievable. And Kevin, the majority of the points that they've given up have come in garbage time. When the game's over, they take the starters out, and some of the young guys have to face 1s and 2s from the other teams, and they maybe give up a touchdown or a touchdown and a field goal. Kevin, this defense has been special. You run out of words to say about them because every week it's just the same thing over and over. They dominate and they just choke the opponent out week after week after week.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to describe it other than the word dominate. They absolutely ruin people's days, whether it be an offensive lineman, whether it be a wide receiver, especially quarterbacks. Running backs' days can't really get ruined that much, but if they could, that would be the case. I mean, they, from every level, from the defensive line that is playing as dominant as they were last year, to the linebackers where you'll lose Cody Simon, you're replaced with Arvell Reese. What a reload. Same with the defensive backs. You lose Denzel Burke. I mean, you got a kind of committee running that other cornerback. You got Igbenos at one side, and then kind of siphon through the other. Devin Sanchez coming in a little bit. It's just impressive what they've been able to do, what Patricia's been able to do. And I mean, offense has got to, if you're trying to win an award, you don't want to go up against the Ohio State offense or defense. That's for sure.
It's crazy, Kevin. They're giving up 8.4 points per game. 8.4 points per game is what they're giving up on average. If that is basically just saying, hey, offense, score a touchdown and you'll win the football game, or at least we'll go into overtime pretty much, because they do not let up anything. And they're 4 points better than the two teams tied at second, which one of those is Indiana. So, Indiana's given up 12 points a game, 12.8 points a game specifically. And it's and so that matchup we'll obviously get into here in a couple weeks. But the difference between first and second place is 4 points. The difference between second and 10th place is also 4 points. So that's kind of the separation there that the Buckeyes have created in terms of their peers. Now, when they come out against you, it's got to be just so demoralizing. And one of the things, Kevin, that I think, as we kind of start talking about what this group is going to do to this Michigan offense is, last week against Rutgers, I will say this: Rutgers hardly moved it on Ohio State, and certainly didn't score any points, damn near at all. But what they did do, which I actually liked, was they at least tried to attempt passes down the field, and at least tried it. Right? They found no success doing it, but they at least did it. And what that did, Kevin, for us, was like reminder, hey, Davison Igbinosun's back there, and he's really good, and he had himself a day. So it was like one of those things where like, all right, they're going to try something, but a guy that we haven't had to talk about all year long was our cornerback, and he showed up in a major way. That's just so demoralizing for an opposing offense.
Yeah, and I mean, offenses used to throw at him. It was at least once a game was a free 15 yards, but I don't think he's really done a whole lot in that avenue of garnering a ton of laundry. So it's I think it's been a great year for Igbinosun. I think he's playing his way into a top 4-round pick, and it should be interesting to see how they evaluate him when the draft season comes around. But he's been, and we talked about the beginning of the year how he was a question mark, and see if he'd be able to do what he needs to do to be the star, be the leader of this defense, and he is. I'm going to put it.
Kevin, it's so funny. I was just thinking this as you said that, you're talking about what he's done for his draft stock and his postseason stock. Like, Ohio State replaced 8 NFL players from last year's team, 8 of them. One was playing last night or on Monday night in Lathan Ransom, and you see these guys all over the field that are rookie or all over the NFL that were rookies that were on last year's Ohio State team, and you thought there's no way that Ohio State can replace these guys, and then they go out and they just find cats that are just better. They're better at all positions. It's amazing stuff. It's shocking. They're going to get, they're out of all of the draft eligible guys, all of them will get drafted. Like all of them are going to get drafted from this defense, which is amazing. And they're going to be drafted fairly high and potentially 2 within the first 15 picks in Orville Reese and Caleb Downs. So that will obviously be fun to see. And it's coming down the way. And we got a long time for that. We got a long time for that because first they got a big job to do against Michigan on Saturday. Now, this Michigan offense comes and goes as their quarterback goes. Bryce Underwood, there's a lot that's been talked about him. He's the number 1 recruit coming out of last year's class. He gets paid a boatload of money by a couple different people to get him to Michigan, and really hasn't shown the elite ability yet, right? He has not put together a game where you're like, oh yeah, that's the dude that Michigan bought. And his most yards he's thrown for in a game is 280. They've talked about, and that was 2 weeks ago against Northwestern, and a 2-point win for them. But they also talk about him as a dual threat guy. He's got 1 game this year over 100 yards rushing. That was against Central Michigan. All the rest of them have been 60 yards or less. His 60-yard game came against Nebraska in that comeback win over the Cornhuskers. Kevin, you talked about him the other day, the importance or the difference that he is from home and away, and why that's important for a young player and a young team in these Michigan Wolverines that have a huge task going against the Ohio State Buckeyes defense.
Yeah, they're one of the younger teams in college football, and I think that shows in their home versus away performances. I just don't know how he's going to fare because I don't think he's seen a defense like this. And to kind of attribute it, they lost to Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost to Texas. We beat Texas. I'm not saying that means we're definitely going to win. I'm just saying we've played people of this caliber before, and this defense will shut them down. I don't know. I'm not saying we've played Underwood before. However, what I am saying is I don't think any of our guys are going to be scared that, there's this little freshman that's going to be dominating. We got to be on the lookout for it. They're just going to play their ball and dominate like they have, hopefully. And then at the end of the day, we're holding that banana that the band carries around that says blue on it. That's the goal. Every time when you go to Ann Arbor, to be carrying that around the field at the end of the day.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, for Ohio State, it's stopping him is where you start your game plan, and because if you can stop him and you can stop their passing attack, that's been largely it's been better than what they had last year. Last year was a total debacle for them, but it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good this year for Michigan. He just cresting 2,000 yards on the year. He's completing the ball at 62%. He's only thrown 9 touchdowns. He's got 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions in the air. And then on the ground, 68 carries for 322 yards and 5 scores. So he's really not gotten to that point where you're like, all right, he's someone to be scared of. Now, on the outside, this isn't a team that, you're not really all that worried about what they bring to the table. They got 3 receivers that have over 200 yards receiving, and their lead guy has 42 catches for 641 yards and 3 scores. Like, not someone who's going to inject a lot of fear in you. And then their tight ends. They've had strong tight ends for feels like for forever, but their leading tight end, Marlon Klein, on the year, just 19 catches for 209 yards and a score. And there's not much to defend if you're Ohio State. So it's like, hey, buckle down on the run game, do what you got to do to stop the run, as you always have, and you just make Bryce Underwood's life a little bit of hell, and you should be feeling all right in this one. I'm scared to say it because the defense has played well last year, but it feels like Michigan always finds a way to at least run it against Ohio State. And I think Ohio State can really hone in on the run this year and try to shut it down and force them to pass the football.
Yeah, that's where they dominated. That's where they dominate as a team this year. That offensive line is still elite. Only way to put it. So if you can sell out and stop the run and force this kid to throw passes he doesn't want to throw, that's kind of that's the trick to this. As I'm looking now, this lighting is making me look great sitting in this empty gate. But no,
you're bouncing around. We never were the best lit podcast, as you can see from my back.
Right. We're always kind of a debacle. But
Brendan takes all of our money and flies to South America or wherever the hell he's at. Where's he at now?
Yeah, I think he's vacationing in Cabo right now.
Oh, Cabo. But, no, he can't spare us any lights. On the ground, Michigan's going to be led by Jordan Marshall. Justice Hayes was their leading back. And he went under the needle a couple weeks ago and had surgery that ended his season. So Marshall's the lead guy, and then Bryce Underwood is literally the second leading rusher on this team outside of Haynes. So you stop one guy in the backfield, you stop another guy through the air, and you're really going to cut off the head of that snake. And I think I'm scared to say it because it feels like a lot like we were looking at last year's game. And you're like, all right, they can't move the ball on offense. It's going to be hard to beat them. And Ohio State just needs to They need to be themselves when they have the football to just put up 2 touchdowns. You put up 2 touchdowns, you win this football game. That's kind of got to be the mindset going in. So, Kev, we're going to keep tonight nice and short and sweet. You got a flight to go and catch. So we got keys to the game. Now, in our show on Monday, you said just win. You had a beautiful, emotional just win. It actually had some run on. I cut it up. It's in our short section on YouTube. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. But what is the defense's keys to victory? They've played well last year. They got a good opportunity to go at it again. What are you looking for from the defense to get it done on Saturday?
I can do the cop out and say win, but I think I'm just going to say do your job because these guys are capable of shutting this team down, and they need to just do their job. Stay out of your own head. It's very simple. Do your job, and good things will happen.
Yeah, good things will absolutely happen. As I was thinking about this one today, for me, you looked at last year's game. They only give up 13 points. You're like, that's winning football, and they actually made a bunch of winning football plays. I would caution, don't press, right? I think, and not that this group would, but don't fall into this has happened before. We have to go make the Superman play, which leads back into your point of, do your job. Like, make sure that you're doing just what you're supposed to do. You're doing it at a very high level because you'll shut this Michigan team down. Where they will run into trouble is if and I'm just going to use him as an example. If Sonny Styles tries to make the Superman play, which he never would, but he tries to make the crazy play and then gives up a massive one behind it because he in his head's like, we got to cover for the offense or whatever it may be. So, I think your point's dead on. Do your job and don't try to be Superman because that'll lead you into some bad stuff. So, Kevin, when you play golf in November, how well is your game? You still got a game or no? What's it look like?
Just as atrocious as in the summer. So probably worse. Haven't swung a golf club in since August. So it's fun. Maybe September. Either way, it'll still be a disaster. Can't wait. I played well in Hilton Head last time I was here, but that usually means I'm going to play terrible this time. So it should be fun.
Well, maybe we flip the script this year around. So everybody, as you're listening to this, don't feel too bad. Kevin's not traveling for work or whatever. He's traveling to go hang out, get some swings in. Maybe get your. Are you going to get some beach time? Are we getting some toes in the sand or not on this trip?
Nope. I'm not a beach guy.
I was going to say the Irish skin. Probably not the beach guy, huh?
I just hate the hot sand. Give me Siesta Key, and I love the beach, but like the hot sand, not my vibe.
He cannot do it. Well, next time we talk, Kevin will be in a beautiful vacation home, and that'll be Friday. We'll be back with you here as a group on Friday, and excited as we get closer to the end of the week. It's gonna be a fun week as things start to hammer down and we get close to game time. Kev, the last game you were at where you were traveling, you found a cool Buckeyes bar. Do you know of any Buckeyes bars down in Hilton Head that you're going to be watching the game at on Saturday?
There's one there, but I'm not. I'm watching it in a bedroom by myself.
We're locked in, lights off. Yep. We're banging. Yep. We're punching the walls. We're doing that stuff. I love it. Well, everybody, appreciate you all jumping in. Obviously, we are just a few hours removed from Thanksgiving, the best holiday of the year. So appreciate everybody, and we're thankful for you. If you're watching our stuff, if you're a frequent, if you're new, appreciate you jumping in and following along with us. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. If you like what we do, we're going to have a bunch of good content coming your way the rest of the week. Kevin and I will be back Friday, and we'll have it locked and loaded on Saturday for a full day's worth of video content here. And then over at our site, it's Kevin, we got a new tag for our site. You just got to type in Buckeye Roundtable. I capitalized it. Don't type in Buckeyes. Leave the S off. It's Buckeye Roundtable, and that'll take you to our new site. You don't got to do all the slants and this and that, NCAA, Anthony, Kevin, da-da-da-da-da. You just got to type in Buckeye Roundtable. It'll take you where you need to go. Make sure you get over there. Follow Kevin, follow myself, and follow the rest of our group as we provide our best Buckeyes content. Like we said on Monday, we know you're getting your content in a lot of places. Appreciate you making us a stop on your way. So Kevin's got to go catch a flight. I got to go make some dinner. So appreciate everybody jumping in and watching us. And we'll be back with you on Friday here on the Buckeye Breakdown podcast on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel.